that you do here?
Right. Well, and if you, and I think they're afraid to ask him, what is it that you say you do? Well, Trump is asking them. So, So what is it that you say you do here?
I'm a people person. I work well with people.
Okay. Gonna have to ask you to clear your desk out.
Right, exactly.
You're moving on, nothing to see here. And I think by having a Clinton in play, she's part of the establishment. She's part of the whole good old girls and boys club. She'll keep the gravy train coming. She'll keep the welfare for the politicians coming, because these politicians are on and involved in somewhat of a welfare system, if you will. Because
oh my gosh,
they're soaking down $150,000, $200,000 a year, free food, free meals, slush funds, which they really do call them slush funds. He gets an office and he's allotted $200,000 for renovations to his office. Thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in travel expenses, on and on and on and on. The gravy train for all these politicians is at risk, or at least highly in question, if nothing else.
Okay. So can I give you a specific example that I think people could relate to, but they may not have ever known these little minute details about corruption in government, which kind of explains why there's so much violent opposition to Trump in both the establishment left and the establishment right. Here's a perfect example. So my daughter goes to a private school, and everybody who has a child in elementary school who gets a chance to look at some of the material that Common Core gives them knows that there's only one main purpose of Common Core, and that is to re-educate our children to accept communism as the best form of society, but more importantly, that whites and blacks, black people are victims of whites, and that white people are evil, and so are the Native Americans were victims of whites.
And if you're white, we will show you how to feel guilty. We will teach you.
They'll make white
guilt.
They train white children, and believe me, my daughter actually came home and started in with the guilty language about how white people were dressed in white hoods. I mean, this was when she was years old.
You mean she was 16, right? When she was 16?
No, 6. When she was 6, she was telling me about white people dressed in hoods and burning crosses on front lawns. When she was 6.
She needs to know that at 6 years old that something like that happened at one time. And they failed to tell her that it was the Democrat Party that did that.
Right. There's a certain group of people. Sure, they might have all been white, but it wasn't all white people. It was a certain segment of white people called the Democrat Party. So, but anyway, right. So everybody that has children who are paying attention and who understand the difference between, good American values that make everybody successful, regardless of color or creed or whatever, are under assault through Common Core by educating children to reject all the things that we would consider free market capitalism or just good American history stories, and replace them with new fake revisionist history things to put everybody in their place. That's what it does. It puts white people in their place. It also puts black people in their place because it paints them as victims that are their only reparation for their victimhood is through the government. And so that's what Common Core is teaching. All right, so we all know that what it's there for, right?
Right.
So my daughter goes to a private school, and it's load her up with all this Common Core curriculum stuff. I said, whoa. I pay good money to keep my daughter away from the propaganda. All right? Why are we doing Common Core? You know what their answer was? Because if we didn't bow down and kiss the foot of the state and do Common Core, you wouldn't be able to afford the tuition because it would be triple what it is. So basically, the government subsidizes the schools and uses it as ransom to keep the propaganda in place. Now, how does that translate to what we're talking about? The way that translates to what we're talking about is this. If a governor has to say you're going to lose all that funding because somebody's coming in and gutting the system out, and now your private school tuition is going to be higher, or all this stuff is going to be higher, whatever, it's going to cause them to revolt against these local politicians. So that's why they're so violently against Trump. Now, some people listening right now will be like, well, shit, maybe shouldn't I not vote for Trump then because I don't want to, I don't want to have to pay more tuition. But no, the overall totality of the entire capitalist system will end up costing less for everybody, have less propaganda, less corruption, more efficiency, better people in power, and all that needs to be gutted.
And you'll be making more money. And those of you who don't have a job, to the tune of 93 million Americans not working that could work.
Good point.
That would be not completely erased, but that would be slashed. I'd say slashed at least by in half.
I'm so glad you said that, because the point is, this is the whole big picture. The socialism, or communism as we call it correctly, what it is a system to give you the least amount of money and power possible so that the government has to make up for all the rest of it, ensuring that you vote for them, because they create this illusion that if you lose what they provide for you, then you will die, and you're just going to be on the street.
No, you'll find it. It'll be there. It will show up for you in the form of higher wages, lower taxes. That's something that Trump said today. He said that the dirty secret that nobody's talking about Ohio, and that Kasich is saying that taxes are lower. No. Property taxes, real estate taxes for Ohio is up. Huge. They may say that they're lowering your taxes, but they're really raising your real estate and property taxes.
Yeah, so the overall amount you pay is more. So really what they do is they always fight for higher taxes, and some of you might be wondering, how in the world do they get away with that? Who would want to vote for higher taxes? Because they tell you that you're not paying it. They're telling you to soak the rich by if you promise, or if you vote for us, we promise to take all the money from these evil, wealthy people who took your money. And that's how they're wealthy, because they stole it from you. All right? So they tell you that. They don't tell you you're going to pay for it. They tell you the rich are going to pay for it. The thing is, there's a million ways we could tell. We took another 3 hours on this. I mean, have you ever been hired by a poor person? I mean,
that's the people that create jobs, are poor people.
No, yeah, the great job. Oh my God.
Okay.
And you should know this.
Right. Let's hit on this real quick before, because this is part of the title. Hillary indictment soon to come.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, check this out. There was a Democrat debate on CNN this week, and Univision hosted it, and Ramos was there. And he asked Hillary a question about the email scandal and what would happen if she was indicted. And I'm going to go ahead and roll that clip.
Case of overclassification. I am not concerned about it. I am not worried about it. And no Democrat or American should be either.
The questions were, Secretary Clinton, the questions were, who gave you permission to operate? Was it President Obama?
There was no permission to be asked. It had been done by my predecessors. It was permitted. I didn't have to ask anyone.
If you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness. That is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that
question. Well, let me tell you something. What she did is at least minimum as bad as what they accused Petraeus of doing, and Petraeus got nailed hard, big time. And I don't think that he shouldn't have, but we can't be hypocritical.
No, of course not. Well, come to find out that there's 24 emails, at least 24. They're saying 22 plus emails that were in her account that are so sensitive in nature higher than top secret. It's like super secret probation type of thing, super secret double probation. Right. It's so high. Like, I don't even know if there's a classification. It's so high. More than 22 of them that were on her server. And Clinton IT specialist Brian Pagliano, he's the key witness in this email probe. We talked about this before, that the FBI was trying to strike a deal and give him immunity. But before they give you immunity, they'll interview you to see if you're even worth, that bag of rocks. I mean, do we shell this out? Do we make that happen? So what's up? So Judge Napolitano, breaking news on Friday afternoon before a long weekend, said that Brian Pagliano is a devastating, said sources close to the FBI that interviewed him is a devastating witness. And as the webmaster knows exactly who had access to Clinton's computer and her devices at the exact times that may or may not correspond and overlap with all the images, like that famous image of her being in the airport with the black glasses on, scrolling through her BlackBerry. They're overlapping where she was, what device she was on because of who was filming her or taking pictures of her, and they're directly correlate.
Right, because she's such a famous person that everywhere she goes, they're going to know exactly where she is and all that kind of stuff.
At every given moment, at any given time, well, they know where she's at because she's Secretary of State. However, the pictures, because she's famous, that's a trifecta. We got your...
Yeah, they got three sources.
Right, we got your server that tells us the time that you did this. We've got the State Department's record of where you were supposed to be at. And we've got a picture of you being on your BlackBerry at the place you were supposed to be at.
So how are they going to use this against her?
Oh, because all of the information that she's saying wasn't secret at the time that she sent it was all secret. All of it.
There have been multiple interviews with people that have been former military, former government workers who had top secret and secret security clearances. They've all been interviewed, not specifically about anything specific with regards to anything that she may or may not have divulged, but in general, these are general rules that everybody is taught before they get these secret and top secret security clearances, is that it doesn't have to be labeled. You'll know by the nature of the content in it whether or not it should be or is already classified as secret or top secret. Not being labeled is not an excuse for just having loose lips. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or so to speak, using the loose lips sink ships poster from the World War II Navy. But the idea that they weren't labeled classified or secret or top secret makes no never mind, because she either should have known or would have been taught or explained to her that, hey, just treat it all confidential or whatever.
I mean, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Exactly. I
mean, that's what it boils down to. And Catherine Heritage from Fox News, she's one of their correspondents, and she is absolutely phenomenal. She's a former, I think she's a former Hyatt military personnel, but she's really incredible with her reporting. And she goes into all of this detail by detail, and then Judge Napolitano kind of backs up what she's saying by telling us, folks, the FBI does not ever give immunity to someone in the middle of an investigation who could be a key witness with key information. They don't grant you immunity